I looked for information about this floor model cream separator on YouTube and I could not find it. So I want to make a video here for any of you that are like me. Talk about cream separating. So I have done cream separating using a gravy ladle on my jars, and that's fine. If you're only ladling off cream from maybe 2 or 3 gallons, you know, that's fine. But when you've got to ladle off the cream off of 5 or 6 or 9 gallons, that's a lot, and all of a sudden that gravy ladle does not seem to be maybe the most efficient way of getting your cream separated. So I was given, I bought it, but it's a ridiculous price from a good friend, this Delaval number 18 cream separator. And it's number 18? Yeah, it's a number 18. It's a floor model. It's huge, very, very heavy. It does have a motor on it, but I need to, before I try plugging it in and seeing what happens, I want to get it all cleaned out in the motor, make sure all the wiring is good and safe. I bought a new belt for it, and but I want to have a friend or one of my sons go through the motor and just make sure it's in good shape. Okay, I looked for information about this floor model cream separator on YouTube and I could not find it. So I want to make a video here for any of you that are like me. I am not an expert at all, but I cleaned it out and watched whatever videos were available and just kind of did the best I could. It made a whole bunch of mistakes in the process and just kind of fiddled with it a little bit. And I was very, very blessed to have been given, when I bought it, a complete set. I think the only thing it might be missing is the huge filter that can actually go into this bowl. But, you know, that's not a big deal. Okay, so let's talk about this. We've got, like I said, this is a Delaval. I'll lower this a little bit so you can see. And please ignore my messy house. We've got this hand crank. If you listen real closely, you'll hear like a little bell dinging. Listen. All right, hopefully you can hear that. Okay, what is that turning? Well, let's come here and take a look. So that's what it's turning, that's what's spinning. That's important to know. What's the point of it turning? It's got to spin what's known as a centrifuge. Okay, but let's talk about these first. We see these, we don't know what they are. This is just a stainless steel bubble, basically. It's called a float. I'll show you what that's all about. Next, we've got, let's see, backwards. We've got this piece. All right, it's got a hole inside there. And it pops off of these. And inside, it's got a little post. Okay, so there's that. I don't know what all the names of these pieces are, by the way, just so you know. I can just show you how it works. All right, and then we've got these two. They pull apart like that. Notice the openings in the center of each of these is one is bigger than the other. So this one is bigger than that one. Small one goes on top, all right? So this one is for your skim milk, this one's for your cream. And it actually does work really well. Right, so that's, set that aside. This is the base of your centrifuge, okay? It has a gasket. Mine was dry rotted badly, so I went to Ace Hardware and just got a rubber gasket that was, I took the old one with me and had a guy help me figure out how big I needed to get based on the condition of the dry rot, how thick was that, and get me another one. And he got me this one. It was not the right size. It was way too big. So that, you know, did not stop us. My son cut the big one and then shaved it down just so, and then super glued the ends, because this is not going to have strain put on it. This is simply a gasket to keep things watertight. That's all. Right? So there's going to be a lid that's going to press down on this. This gasket is going to prevent milk from coming out. So it does not have stress, so the gasket just needs to be there nice and solid and clean. All right, it will touch milk, so it's important for it to be clean. So this is the inside of the centrifuge. All right, underneath it's got this, again, a little hole in the center, okay? It's got a little screw on the top, or a thread on the top. Okay, this will touch milk, so it's important for it to be clean. So this centerpiece that is spinning, it may touch milk, it may not. Any milk it does touch is discard milk anyway, so it's not something that you would save anyway. It just leaks out all over the floor. And I'll show you about that in a second. All right. This is the lid of the centrifuge. If you notice, there's that little opening right there on that centrifuge. And if you notice on this one, it's got a little post piece. Can you see that? There we go. A little dot right there. Okay? So when you put these together, you're going to line it up so that that little post fits right inside that slot. Okay? And it'll be pressed together. The thing that's really going to press these together is a little screw that fits right inside this part right here. It'll screw it down and tighten these together. That's why the gasket is so important. Because as this tightens down on top of this, you're going to want that gasket just to make sure you've got it completely watertight. This is the little screw that goes on top of this piece right here. Let's try that again. Okay, and it's got these 4 holes. I'll show you how you use that in a sec. Okay, all of this is going to touch milk, so really important that it's clean. All right, I don't know if you've seen something like this before, but these discs are what spin the milk using centrifugal force. I don't know exactly how it all works. All I know is it does work. These will fit on top of the post of your centrifuge base, and they only fit one way. And then you put your cover over top, put the screw on, tighten it all the way down, and then you can set it into this piece here, or this, you set it into this, and it only fits one way. Okay, this came with my Delaval. It's a weird looking tool. It's got these little post pieces. I don't know how well you can see them. And yeah, it's kind of rusty, but it's not going to touch, milk. So these 4 little post teeth, if you want to call them, correspond to this to grab it. So now you've got some leverage because it gets on pretty tight. You have to have it on really tight. So you really want to be able to wrench on it. Now, this cool Delaval actually came with a really nice feature. Setting this right here. So this base can set right inside there, and then as my screw piece is on, I can use this and this little base is just a little thin piece of metal. It'll hold it for when I want to tighten it or hold it as I need to loosen it. It's kind of cool. Alright, a word about loosening it though. If you can avoid using that to loosen it, I recommend it, because as soon as you loosen it, any residual milk will come spilling out all over the place and it makes a horrible mess. So then we've got this great big huge bowl. It's got this little spigot. Comes right out, which is great because then you can just kind of really clean it out. Alright? So, let's see. Yeah, alright. The feet line up with all 3 of those feet right there. Just like that. And it's not going to go anywhere. This bowl will hold 5 gallons of milk. Okay? So there's that. I'm going to do a quick rinse of all of my equipment and then I'll be right back with you, and we're going to actually put this to use because I've got 3 gallons or so of milk that I need to separate. I got this bowl all rinsed out. All of my pieces are rinsed out. Okay, so now let's talk about how to put it all together. There's a little post, like a line that goes across. It goes across, so that allows it to only fit in one way inside of this. So you can't see it right now, but it makes it so that this sets only one way. Let's see, no, let's just do it this way. Okay, so I've got my gasket in. It's all in nice and solid. Okay, next, it has something slightly different. You wouldn't think would be a big deal, but it is. It's this right here, this little knob. Kind of see that a little bit. That makes it so that stuff only fits one way, which is what I really love about these old units, is they really make it so that you can't accidentally do it wrong. Oh, okay. This is the top piece, not the base. But that little knob, it's been a little while, okay guys, so as I told you, this little knob right here makes it so that this little, oh, where is it? Right there. This little groove right there, can you see that? Right there? That little groove can only slide down over top of that little knob. Alright. These little discs are the centrifuge discs. Okay, they only fit down, you know, one way onto the base. So this base has these little ribs on it that go with those grooves. Just like that. Okay? So let's get the rest of these on. There's about 40 discs. I haven't actually counted it, but it's about 40 discs. And they are a pain to wash because it's actually really cool how this whole thing works. stack them all on there. I'll just keep turning it back and forth until they all fit down nice and tight, just like that. Okay? All right. I'm going to take my top one, set it on top, just like that. You see a little bit of thread sticking up. Okay, that's important. Now I just got to make sure that everything is just lined up, just so. This top piece will turn so that this will go down on it. So I'm just going to line that groove up with that little knob or button piece, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, this also lines up with this post little piece right here. They're both together. And I know that that has to line up with the groove right here. So all of this has to line up. So I'm going to turn this piece so that it lines up. The little button lines up with that. Just like that. Okay? Now here's where the screw comes in. The screw will push this down to get it really nice and tight. Now my hands are not strong enough to get it to tighten down any further, so I'm going to take this bowl off, put this piece right here, which is what it's for. Now I can start screwing it on. Now where does the milk come through? It comes through right through this center hole.
This is great.
As you can imagine, with that much work, screwing that down is going to be a pain to unscrew. So try to be in a sink or a place where you don't mind the mess when you have to unscrew it. Right, so there's my centrifuge. It's all put together, okay? This is where the milk is going to come through, and then it's going to disperse amongst all those discs which are spinning around. Remember I said that this centrifuge is only going to go in one way. Okay, it's on there, nice and solid right here, so that now when I grab this, it's a whole lot harder to turn because this thing's heavy, right? So, and it does not stop very easily. I put oil in all the places I could think of to put oil, to just make sure it was all nice and clean. I scrubbed it a bunch. Okay, so now let's assemble the piece that has to go above this. Right, remember we talked about the big and the small openings? This is the big one, this is the little one. Big one goes down first. Kind of have the spout angled where you want the skim milk to come out. Really press it down tight. Okay, this one goes directly over top. Have it angled again where you want the cream to come out. Cream being heavier or thicker, more viscous, it's going to kind of come out the spout and drop straight down, whereas the skim is going to kind of shoot out. So put your, thank you, put your buckets accordingly. All right, time for this piece. Okay. Here's the little post. It's going to direct all the milk in through the screw in the top, okay? Press that on. There we go. Nice snap. All right. The float. My float is dented a little bit on the bottom. Just set that right in there. All right, it's time to put the bucket on now. The big one. And a little spigot. Okay. So, what is the float for? Okay, well, if you're pouring the milk out of this really fast, faster than this can separate it, it'll cause that float to rise up and basically plug the spigot so that the spigot can't let more out faster, which is super helpful. Something we learned, you can pour your milk into this bowl, but don't turn on the spigot until you've got your rotations with your crank moving fast enough. They said, I think for this one, it's about 45 rotations per minute. Now this thing is really big and heavy. I can't do that, so I asked my big strong men, my sons, to do it for me, and they work really, really hard at it. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll ask them to come down, and we'll do that. I've got 3 gallons ready to go, and then I'll use my 2 5-gallon buckets, one for cream, one for skim. The skim is not really skim milk. It's still about what you would consider store-bought whole milk to taste like it. So it's really, really good. Very frothy. I have learned that frothy milk is low cream milk. So when I'm milking my cows and I'm milking by hand or whatever, and I've got tons of froth, that just means I don't really have that much cream, because the cream makes everything very thick, and thick does not bubble up and froth as much unless it's being whipped. Okay, let's do this. Ready? Here we go. Okay, we got the skim going, and there's the cream. Keep going. Don't try to do that. That's a good speed. Keep it steady.
I was going to take my hoodie off.
It's hard, isn't it?
Once you get it to speed, it's not that bad.
No, but getting it up to speed is hard. It always kill my back. I've tried to do it before and it kills my back.
What happens if it goes any faster?
Just start to lose control of it. Don't slow down. Yeah, can hear it slowing down. Yeah, when we slow down, it starts to leak really bad. So don't slow down. You can even go a little bit tiny faster if you want. There we go. I like that sound. Good sound. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't quit. Do not slow down. You can go a bit faster if you want. Oh, careful. Just don't slow down.
You might consider screwing this into the floor.
Yeah, once we get a permanent spot for it, yes.
Like this?
I don't know if this is permanent or not. You're doing great. The milk's going down. You're doing great. We're not leaking anymore. That's good. You're going fast enough now. We're getting there. Hang in there, babe. Almost done.
Oh, that part. This is a good one.
Don't quit. Because it's got to run.
Slow down a little bit.
Don't slow down yet. Because it's got to work through all the milk in here now. All right, done. Yeah, no, there's no way to slow it down except for right here. I'm running a video too, by the way. Perfect. See, it leaks out a little bit over here if you don't get it up fast enough. and all you leaked out was that much.
Oh.
Nice. Nice job, Ethan. Good job. Okay, you feel like that was a little bit of a workout?
A little bit, yeah.
Melody had to do 5.5 gallons of that.
What
So
did I just do?
3 gallons. So, all right.
It wasn't bad once we got up to speed.
All right, so there's our skim milk, and there's our cream. Very, very lovely. So it's probably almost a gallon of cream. All right, so now I can just take that off, move my buckets, go through my milk, and put my milk away, and put it in the fridge, and then start rinsing all of this, get it under some hot water, some little bit of soap, and I will often just put everything in my bowl here and let it soak in hot soapy water, and yeah, that's it. It's time to make some butter today. Okay, as far as washing this stuff, just take it apart the way I showed you how I put it together, and you know, use your own common sense. Stainless steel, and you're doing, at least for me, I'm doing raw milk. So I need it to be very, very clean because my family's going to drink this milk and use these products, and so everything has to be super, super clean. So use your own judgment. If you think that there's a single spot that might have bacteria growth, just clean it. It's better to clean it than to wonder. All right, now we did have one little bit of leaking, and I asked somebody why this was. It's right down here, right here. It'll leak. So once you take the centrifuge out, if you're not going fast enough with turning, it's gonna leak really bad under here. So make sure that before you turn the spigot on to let the milk out, make sure that you're turning this about a second per full rotation, a little faster. And then turn it on, and if you're not leaking anything, you'll know right away. And if you're leaking, don't stop. Spin harder, faster, okay? So that's kind of that. We'll just wash that up a little bit, and not a big deal. And then just do everything in reverse for yourself, okay? Okay, I hope that this was helpful for all of you that struggle with figuring out how these cream separators work. I have been asking for a long time for a video on how to put it together, what all the little parts are, how to use it, how to put it together for a stand cream separator like this. And once I figured it out, I decided, you know what, I might as well just do it. And my video is not as high quality, and I'm sure somebody out there is going to say, oh, you're doing this all wrong, you shouldn't be doing it that way. But nobody has helped me. I had to figure this all out on my own. So if somebody can do a video better, by all means, I'd be happy to learn right along with anybody else. But this is what I've been able to do that is working for us. And I've already made butter using the cream separating with this, and I'm very, very happy with it. So, oh, one thing I did want to mention. When you're doing gravy ladling for your cream, you know, that's what I was doing for forever. You leave the milk in the fridge until it's cold and it has separated and all the cream's up at the top. Not so with one of these. The fresher and warmer the milk, the better. Okay, so I will bring my milk right in, filter the whole thing, and then dump it into this bowl and separate it right then and there. Now, I don't know how all of this works, but for some reason, these little stainless steel discs inside this centrifuge are able to separate the cream from the skim. I don't know how they do it. It's just a cool science thing. All I know is it works. So now I don't have to skim the cream off of my jars anymore. But using something like this, it's not worth it if you've only got a half a gallon. It really is not worth it. It's so heavy. So I would use this if you've got 3 gallons plus. Really, 3 to 5 gallons or more is a good excuse to get one of these. If you're only getting 1.5 gallons a day, don't get a great big monster like this. If you think you will expand to be bringing in 10 gallons a day, absolutely, for sure. But, right, I'm hoping that this is helpful. Leave me comments. If you've got a question about this, I will do everything I possibly can to answer. I'm not an expert. I've only been using this for a few months, but I've been very, very happy with the results. So I'll do my best to answer any questions you might have. These things are really hard to find, and they're especially hard to find complete. If you have one and it is complete with all of these parts, please don't use it as a planter unless it's so totally far gone that it's frozen, or you can't turn it anymore. Please don't use it as a planter. They're so hard to find anymore. I'm sure there's somebody out there that would buy it off of you and restore it and put it to good use. I actually bought another one that I thought I would be able to use, and I didn't have all the parts for it, so it is going to be used as a planter. So this one is in good shape still, and it deserves to be used the way it was intended. I love the fact that it's not electric. I love the fact that it doesn't have anything that requires, you can be totally off grid and still use this, and it works beautifully. I love that. I love the fact that of the ingenuity and the creativity and the engineering design that went into creating this without circuitry, without electronics, without batteries. I love that. Okay, thank you all for paying attention this long and sticking with me this long. I've got to get this done and get some butter made and put that in the fridge. I might be able to make some yogurt with that skim. And then I got to get this washed. So I will see you all later. Happy farming, everybody. Subscribe, send me a comment, send me a like, and I will talk soon. All right, bye guys.